Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Corky's World channel. I'm Corky, as always, and a very special welcome back to the Retro Corner here on the Corky's World channel. Now, we're doing something a little bit different today as far as things we've done in the Retro Corner before. When we started the Retro Corner, however long ago, it was, hey, here we are. I have a 64, I have a PS1, I have a Dreamcast, and I have a GameCube, and let's just jump right into it. What we're going to do differently today is, as you can see on the screen and the title card, I have an Xbox now, an original Xbox. Aside from the Super Nintendo, Chris, my brother Chris, and I had a Super Nintendo, and then we upgraded to a N64, and then this was our jump into the next line of gaming. It was this. We didn't have a PlayStation. We didn't have a PlayStation 2. It was Pops had gotten us an Xbox for Christmas, and the screen's going black every now and then, which I'm normal. Like I'm not normal. I'm used to on these Retro Corner episodes because the way we do the whole retro recording system is kind of all wonky. But so I hope I'm not like glitching out while I'm talking as well. But so. We had an Xbox. We had a handful of games for it, and it was funny. We weren't like the richest family on the block, but we still lived in a really nice neighborhood at the time. And an Xbox, I can't imagine, was cheap, and we'll get to that in a second when it came out. But I've been watching my own videos lately with Curran, and I know I say way too much, so I'm gonna try and figure out a way to circumvent that. I did it really bad at the beginning of the channel too. Anyway, Pops had rented some video games for the Xbox from Blockbuster and then wrapped them up, and it was his way of letting us try a few games and like know that we liked them rather than just go full $60 on, which I think at the time a new game was $50 or maybe $40, but a good chunk of change on a game that he didn't know we were gonna like in the first place. So I've got the Wikipedia page. We're going to read a little history, a little trivia, and then that'll be the intro to the Xbox. And anytime I get a new system for the Retro Corner, like if I stumble across a 3DO or I get my hands on a Neo Geo machine, something like that. I have a Genesis in the back. Sorry about that. I have a Genesis in the back that if I ever felt the need to boot that up, we could, but I don't see the need with the Genesis. With so many Genesis collections available, it's like if I could get my hands on a Super Nintendo, why would I when I could just play the classic? It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, here we go. The Xbox is a home video game console and the first installment in the Xbox series of consoles manufactured by Microsoft. It was released on November 15th, 2001, as you can see on the digital clock right there, in North America, followed by Australia, Europe, and Japan in 2002. It was Microsoft's first foray into the gaming console market. It is a sixth-generation console and competed with Sony's PlayStation 2 and Nintendo's GameCube. It was also the first console produced by an American company since the Atari Jaguar ceased production in 1996. Sidebar, I would love to get my hands on an Atari Jaguar, but they are outrageously overpriced. And if you ever seen the Angry Video Games nerd about him, he had to get like 3, I think, before he finally found one that works. So that just doesn't seem like it's worth the hassle or the money. So it was discontinued in North America in March 2nd, 2009. It was discontinued in Japan June 4th, 2006, and across Europe March 11th, 2007. So it had a longer lifespan here in North America than it did anywhere else. So 2001 to 2009. Sold over 24 million units as of May 10th, 2006. So when almost about when it stopped in Japan is when they took that. So you could probably say it probably went closer to 26. Professor Sanford might have a actual hard number, but I wouldn't expect him to waste his time on it. So the CPU was a custom 733 megahertz Intel Pentium 3 Coppermine based, which is in quotes, processor. It had 64 megabytes of DDR SD RAM at 200 megahertz, which is okay. So here we go. and the storage was 8 or 10 gigabytes of internal hard drive, formatted to 8 with allotted system reserve and MS Dash. And then you could also pick up an 8 megabyte memory card. I was wondering about this when it got in, because when I got this package, it was the Xbox, the AV and the power cord, which I had to buy a new AV cord because the AV cord I got didn't work. I got this off eBay, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I got it off eBay. So, and we'll talk more about that later. Damn it. I got it off eBay. It came with a handful of sports games. I already had 2 other games that I specifically purchased for playing on the channel, hoping they would be backwards compatible, but they weren't. So a handful of sports games, 2 other randos, and then 1 controller. And then I've been looking into Xbox game lots on eBay, and then I also have the Game Exchange in Paris, so I could go check what their stock is like and see if they have anything I'd really like to play. It's in such a terrible intersection area that I don't like going there because I hate driving, because everyone hates driving. And anyone who says they don't hate driving is a sociopath, so... Sorry, I took a sip of water. So, the connectivity was 100 megabits Ethernet, and then online services were Xbox Live, which, if I remember correctly, that was really near the end of the system before they started trying to really push that shit. Best-selling game was Halo 2, 8.46 million units as of November 2008, and obviously the successor was the Xbox 360. Now, announced in 2000, the Xbox was graphically powerful compared to its rivals, featured a 733 megahertz blah 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 that could be found on a standard PC. It was also noted for its PC-like size and weight, and was the first console to feature a built-in hard disk, I guess. In 2002, oh damn, so it was only 2 years later, Microsoft launched Xbox Live, a fee-based online gaming service that enabled subscribers to download new content and connect with other players through a broadband connection. I didn't know about downloading stuff. I knew you could play stuff. Unlike other online services from Sega and Sony, Xbox Live had support in the original console designed through an integrated Ethernet port. The service gave Microsoft an earlier foothold in online gaming and would help the Xbox become a relevant competitor to other 6th-generation consoles. The popularity of blockbuster titles such as Halo 2 contributed to the popularity of online console gaming, and in particular first-person shooters. Despite this, and being in second position ahead of Nintendo's GameCube and Sega Dreamcast, sales of the Xbox were always well behind Sony PlayStation 2. And then the rest is... Okay, so here we go. Xbox successor, the 360, was launched in November 2005. The Xbox was soon discontinued, beginning with Microsoft's worst-performing market, Japan, in 2005, so that makes sense. Other countries would follow suit in 2006. The last Xbox game in Europe released was Shaolin Showdown, released in 2007, which I think was a cartoon, right? And the last game in North America was Madden NFL 09, released in August 2008. Support for out-of-warranty Xbox consoles discontinued on March 2nd, 2009, and Xbox Live ended on the console April 15th, 2010. So there's other stuff here like history, hardware, software, services, but I feel like what we got here was all well and good. You got a brief look at it. Let's set up the clock, actually. Ooh, this controller feels... So, damn it. Something that is worth note is the Xbox, I feel like, is one of only a handful of consoles that started with a controller and then not immediately, but pretty rapidly changed its design to accommodate the public's... What fucking month is it? The public's opinion and outcry, because the original Xbox controller, which I think has a specific name, but I'm not worried about getting into it. Anybody know what day it is? Hey. Oh, there it is. We'll check out the memory and settings and music too before we close this. That is nostalgic as fuck. God damn it. It was called the boot or the bomb or something, but it was a massive controller. And this one actually came with the second version, which was much more consistent with what Xbox has been releasing since then. I'd probably compare it more to a Nintendo Pro controller, like a Switch Pro controller, than the actual Xbox One controller that's out now. So what's in the memory of this thing? I was like, they didn't have anything on here? Let's take a look at what this person played before. Cat in the Hat, Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, Ford Racing, Halo, Hitman, Jet Set Radio Future, some Madden games. Look at all this shit. I'm gonna clear all this shit out on the commercial break, but that's just a little preview into what you might be seeing and what this guy used to play before. Cat in the Hat seems like the oddest one there. Anything in music? Nope. So one of the cool things about Xbox that I remember personally doing was you could load a CD onto the Xbox, and then while you were in the middle of a game, some games, you'd be able to bring up that Xbox. The 360 was way better about it, and they improved on it a lot. But in some games like Grand Theft Auto and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, you'd be able to... You'd be able to like put in your own music instead of the ones they were playing, which I always thought was really cool. But anyways, guys, welcome back to the Corky's Retro Corner. We're going to start playing Xbox games. I'm super excited about it. We still have Sanford's Mystery Box, which is on the horizon, which is just a buttload of GameCube games. I still got a ton of N64 games to get through. PlayStation. I think we're going to spend, now that I got the setup back the way I like it, I think we're going to spend a lot more time in the Retro Corner from here on out, with occasional dips back into BioShock until we finish it. Guys, always remember to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I will see you in the next episode. Later days.